So I'm going to go over 1.31, the cost overview. This will really help you with the financial analysis of your transfer system. There's the PowerPoint, and then the next video will go over the spreadsheet. So basically, manufacturing costs. There are a couple different kinds. Capital, like one-time buying big, large machines. You have to operate the place regardless of what happens. And then things that can change based off of how much you produce. So let's go over those. The capital costs would be they give an example of a CNC machine, mill, a huge piece of equipment, injection molder, long-term uses of these machines. They're good investments because you need it to run your company. Operating costs, this is unchanged. You have to heat the building, you have to turn on the lights, you have to pay rent, insurance is always a must. So those are fixed things that don't change regardless of what you do. Variable can change depending on how much you are producing. Your labor, if you need more people, that might increase. Material, that could change. There is in the news, 2x4s have gone up in construction. That changed dramatically for the construction industry. And then maintenance, if things go wrong, that can change. Variable often depends where you live, supply and demand. Recently, hand sanitizer and wipes, they are very expensive, maybe at a 7-Eleven, because there's a lot of demand for that, or there's not a lot of supply, like toilet paper was another example recently. So yeah, maintenance is needed, but that changes. You just don't know sometimes. Time, you might need to make a deadline. Time can cause you a variable. So that can hurt you if you don't make those deadlines. Let's see what else. Shipping, it just depends. If you need it quick, if airplane transferring, semi-trucks, how much. So that can also change or vary. And how far. Wages, minimum wage changes, and then the time, if it's a holiday or something like that, or a weekend, overtime, depending on if a employee works longer than 40 hours a week. So that can also change. But the main thing is your company wants to be efficient. Time is money, and people are valued for their work. Here's an example scenario for a manufacturing facility, just like the one you're producing in the transfer system. You'll go through these steps, the financial analysis. Usually you'll get a chart, how many units. The first line says how many units. They're making 3,215 per year. The retail price per unit is 314. So you could figure out what you're going to make per year. You just multiply those two. The cost per unit, you probably have a separate screen of materials. We don't even know what this thing is, but this is usually how it's laid out. How long, time does it take? This one's in minutes. It takes 4 skilled workers. Skilled workers are different than unskilled. So yeah, production time per day, how long does it take? So you just have to kind of go through the chart. Total time it takes in hours. Equipment lease, that would be maybe one, for example, that wouldn't change per month. You have to rent the building lease. And then management, you're going to have to managers, sales, commission, how much to heats and lights. That's another one that wouldn't change, insurance, etc. So to calculate this, it gives you some ideas, and you might want to pause this to help you on your financial analysis. But production time, number of units, okay, so that would be 3,215 times the production time it takes. Well, per 1 unit is 48, so you take those, and it would be 1,000 or 100,320 minutes. You can change that, divide by 60 to get hours. So this is just kind of logical math using if the facility runs, 24 hours. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say 60, I meant 24. If it doesn't, then you have to take that into account. So there's a lot of variables when looking at this and taking it apart. Always feel free to come into office hours if you need some examples. And then this is what you're going to actually be doing with the transfer system. You will get the total revenue, okay, how many parts or units that you're making, and then what does it cost to do all of that? The COG, the cost of goods sold, the material, the labor, the tools, the equipment, building lease, and you'd subtract those, okay? All costs that contribute directly from the material would be the management, sales, heat, insurance. So total expenses, then the gross margin minus those expenses would be what the magic number, what you're actually making your profit. And here's just an example of different years that happens. Every year might be a little bit different, but you really want to focus in, like you did really well year 4 and year 5. So whatever you were doing, you really study those numbers as a financial person. Have fun with it.